Honestly, I'm really happy with Saturday. I thought Saginaw played a pretty good game. I don't think we shot well in either game, and the lesson to be learned after that we talked about with our guys is you can't count on making shots on the road. It's the long bus ride. I mean, all the excuses in the world on how tough it's going to be. Then you got to go down there with the mentality, with how hard you're going to play, that you need to grind it out and do all those things. And Wayne State played good. They beat us, but on Saturday, I thought Toodles and Freddie played really, really well. Our three-point percentage was actually worse than it was on Thursday, but we found a way to grind it out. I mean, for your hockey reference, on some of those possessions, it was kind of dump and chase. Throw it up on one side and just have three guys crash as hard as you can. And our second chance points, we really got to the board. We had very few mental mistakes, and we made them earn everything and found a way to win. On Thursday, we didn't have that. We had mental mistakes. There was a few possessions where I don't know that we were competing as hard as we needed to, and to go with the missed shots and some missed free throws and some of that stuff. Obviously, we came up short. I mean, we had I think it was an 8-point lead, pretty deep into the second half, and I know we scored only 2 points the last 6 minutes of the game. And when you're doing all those other things not to the level we needed to, you can drop a game, especially against a good team like Wayne State and a tough place to play. I do think this group and winning at the college level, yes, the last 2 years there was some of that, but a lot of these kids have won a lot of games growing up and were on really good high school programs and teams and do that. And I think they're still learning how to grind a little bit on some of those. I mean, Michigan Tech's, we got the longest bus rides. I mean, the travel can get you there if you don't have the right mentality. And I was probably so frustrated on Thursday because everything I told them to prevent, and I'm not trying to make any of this about whatever, us as a group, we talked about it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and still went out and let those things affect us. And the best teams we've had here have went on those trips with just an attacking mentality of we're tough enough to handle this and do this, and we just didn't have it Thursday, and Saturday we did. Oh, absolutely. I mean, and they had to earn them. There wasn't many gimmies in there. Obviously, Nate and Josh did a lot of work on both of them, and Gabe spent some time on both of them. And you know what? Those were tough shots, and you know what? Sometimes when they're feeling that good too, it didn't let other guys get going. When you have guys that can do a good enough job one-on-one that forces them into tough shots, eventually they're going to miss a couple. And they missed just enough, and we made enough plays. And when things are going easy and they can get everybody else involved too, that's when you can really have a problem with a team like that. Gabe works as hard as anybody. He's in the gym every day, sometimes multiple times a day, and doesn't care about anything statistics-wise. He doesn't care if he's getting shots. Obviously, it's an interesting game, and his offensive game is interesting, but all the numbers show how good he is offensively, and obviously he gave us a huge spark. I mean, 18 points, making free throws, crashing the glass. The number of possessions he saved us this year on the offensive rebounding, his offensive rebounding percentage is phenomenal. So, no, that was a great spark. Obviously, his defense has shown all year, but he's continuing to get confidence offensively, and the sky's the limit for him. It's not so much convincing them; it's convincing him to stay aggressive. He can make threes. I don't know that we want him shooting a ton of them yet, but he can go in there and drive on, be more aggressive with that, get into his Barclays, and finding ways to continue to be more aggressive offensively, whether that he needs to continue to look to shoot a couple threes, but he needs to look to continue attacking the basket too. 100%. And road is just something we've talked about all year. I mean, you got to count on your defense, you got to count on your competitiveness, your intensity and things like that, because you can't count on necessarily the benefits coming your way of calls and all that type of stuff, and you can't rely on shooting lights out on the road all the time. When you're at home, it feels like more threes are usually going to go in, so that can cover up a couple of your other things. On the road, you got to be so mentally sharp, and hopefully they're learning from it. And that goes all the way back to non-conference. I mean, those 4 Northern Sun teams we played in true road games are all very, very good teams and have proven after the fact to be probably better than they looked even then. I mean, it's just wild how close the standings are. I mean, I said this a month ago, you're as close to being on the road or out of the conference tournament as you are to winning the league, and it's no different right now. I mean, we're 2 games out of 5th, I think, and you're tied for 1st, but obviously the 3 teams that are within a game here, we play the next 3. So I think you could have a much better picture by the end of next week, but you also might not either, depending on how it goes. I mean, it's crazy. Every game matters so much right now, and obviously it's just awesome that you're putting yourself in a situation to play some huge games here in the next couple weeks at home. I don't think we can count on Marcus going for 45. I'm not saying that can't happen, but hopefully we're a little bit more balanced. We got to minimize especially the 2 lights out 3-point shooters they have, and you got to take care of the ball and you got to rebound. I know that's kind of on repeat with Michigan Tech basketball, but those are some of the main things. I mean, we got to take it one game at a time and spend most of our practice time and whatever getting ready for Ferris, because that's the one that's in front of you. But I mean, Saturday when you're playing Lake State, I mean, in a lot of ways that's a mental one. They play with a chip on their shoulder, and obviously they're a very veteran team. That's going to be an execution game. I mean, you got to take care of the fundamental things, but a lot of that one's going to come down to how sharp you are in your execution, and obviously you got to make some shots and do some things as well. But that'll be a big mental game. I think at home it makes it a little easier when you're more confident in everybody making their shots at home. On the road, it felt like the Wayne game maybe went a little too quick in trying to take over and do some, but I also know we were down and it didn't feel – and I think he ran out of gas a little bit towards the end of that game, where he's bailed us out in the last 5 minutes of a lot of games. He didn't. And hopefully at home we can have a little bit more balance where we don't have to put that load on them. Obviously every game's so important right now. If things aren't going well, we're going to go to them often, but hopefully this weekend a lot of guys step up. Hopefully we can get it inside and play inside-out basketball, and guys are making shots. I mean, we're managing him as the best we can in practice, and I mean, it's February. I mean, I probably worried a little bit more about the load he was bearing a couple weeks ago when, I mean, now it's starting to get close to the part of the year where it's becoming a sprint. I mean, 6 more regular season, and I know we haven't clinched a tournament yet, but it's close to that. So I mean, you're only guaranteed 7 more games. That's starting to get to sprinter territory where you can't worry about guys being tired of loads. You got to go now.